Universe at War is an RTS game released by Petroglyph Games in 2007. Petroglyph, having been formed by many members of the original Command & Conquer team, definitely show their mettle and experience with the genre here. Taking place in 2012 of all years, during an alien invasion of Earth, the game features 4 factions: humans, the Hierarchy, which are the invading aliens, Novus, a race of sentient machines that are the arch-enemy of the Hierarchy, and the Masari, the lost empire of Atlantis. Just like Command & Conquer, at least the original ones, all 4 factions play completely different from one another, and the game takes you through a story that makes you play as all of them at one point or another. Universe at War remains one of my all-time favorites in the RTS category, mainly for its diversity in its factions and how they all play differently but are well balanced with one another. That, and it just has an awesome setup to it as well. You start off in DC as the humans fighting back your alien oppressors, and just when everything's about to go down the shithole, robots come in and start attacking the aliens. Then you're given control of the robots, and you never get to play as the humans again. Yeah. You never get to play as the humans ever again. You're given control of them for 2 missions. 2 very short missions, if I might add, and that's it. You don't even get to play as them in the skirmish matches. What kind of shit is that? And yet people are actually fucking praising this. They're saying, oh yeah, we have absolutely had our fill of playing RTS games where humans fight aliens. Really? Well, would someone care to direct me to this massive boatload of generic RTS games? Because this is the first RTS game I've played where the humans fight a main antagonist that is an invading alien race that they have absolutely no connection with. I mean, sure, the setup is cool and all and everything, and I love how you get control of all the factions, even the aliens themselves eventually, but could you have at least put them in like, the skirmish matches? Was that so hard to do? No, really. Petroglyph was going to implement them as a faction in the final game, but couldn't due to development time constraints, although I don't understand why they couldn't release a piece of overpriced DLC to put them in, at least the skirmish matches. But as a result of this, I found myself loading up the Fort McNair battle and playing through that battle more so than the actual game itself. So I finally started doing some digging on the internet after hearing about a rumor that there was a mod that let you play as the humans. And after a solid week of non-stop searching, I finally found one. I just want to point out one thing though, before we begin. This mod here can only be used in offline skirmish matches. You can't use it online at all. In fact, any online capabilities are disabled so long as this mod is installed. Don't worry, it's very easy to uninstall it. But you can only use it in offline skirmish matches, and only you, the player, can use it. The AI doesn't know how to use it. Oh, and one more thing. The mod will only work if you have the Day 1 patch installed. If you don't have it installed, or you have a later patch installed, you won't be able to get this mod to work. So, right off the bat, you already have a limited pool of usage, but the mod itself is actually pretty cool. Now, what this mod essentially does is it replaces the Masari faction with the humans. Now, not all Masari elements have been removed. Obviously, the headquarters is still the same, and even the builder here is called the Architect by the game's standards, and he utters phrases from both the Architect and the Marines, and gives off that same little glow, and as you can see, the user interface is still the same as when playing the Masari. Now, the way you gather energy is simple. This little matter engine over here, you can build up to 5 of them, and every time you build one, your overall maximum cap of resources extends, or increases, I should say, sorry, and it can go all the way up to 25,400. And obviously, the more you have, the faster you will gather resources. Now, there are also 2 new units added to the mod, units we didn't see in the human missions. There's the APC, which serves as your all-around ground vehicle, and it also has anti-air capabilities, and the second new unit is the Dragoon. Think of it as your mobile artillery, but I'll get more into that later. However, that's not the only new element in this mod. The Apache helicopter also has a missile attack now, which actually comes in quite handy for a number of purposes, such as taking out groups of infantry or destroying anti-air turrets or turrets in general. And aside of that, everything you've seen in the human missions is pretty much here in the mod. All the units that you got to use are here for building. Everything ranging from all your infantry, the Humvees, the tanks, the Apaches, they're all here. Even the two heroes, Colonel Moore and Sergeant Willard, are there as well. There are a couple other Masari structures, but you either can't build them or they really don't do anything. Although there is that helipad that's required in order for you to be able to build Apaches, but no, aside of that, everything's pretty much here. Now, how do they fare in a fight, you might ask? Well, that's where the factions, I guess you can say flaws in terms of gameplay balance, start to show themselves. You see, the humans were meant to be a faction, like a playable faction in the game, but they were cut out at the last minute, so needless to say, they're unfinished. And the moments that we do get to utilize them in the campaign are almost all entirely scripted events. So, for instance, tanks and rocket launcher infantry will have a hard time taking down, let's just say, an enemy grunt, while a chopper can pretty much kill it in one hit. Choppers as well are pretty much annihilated by the hierarchy aircraft, yet their aircraft can barely do a damn shred of damage against ground units. So it all really depends on how you look at it. Me personally, I wouldn't consider it a flaw, because at the end of the day, even though the campaign really doesn't show it, the humans are actually pretty darn strong in large numbers, and I'd even go so far as to say they can actually be overpowering at times, especially with the Dragoon units. But all in all, if you ask me, I'd actually say this is a pretty good mod, especially to those who wanted to see more of the human faction in Universe at War. I mean, me personally, I really liked the whole setup of the humans fighting the hierarchy, and I felt there was more to be had than what the game had given us. And now, for those of you who are interested, we get to the final question. Where do I get the mod? Well, as I stated before, it took me a solid week of searching before I actually found the damn thing, but thankfully, I've made it all the more accessible and convenient for you folks. I've provided a link to a Mega Upload profile in the description, and if you guys can't download it, just email me or something and I'll take care of it. And full installation instructions are included with the file, including how to uninstall it and get the normal game working again, so you don't have to worry about that. And in the end, I'd say if you were looking for more of the humans in Universe at War, or even if you're a fan of humans versus aliens RTS games in general, definitely give this mod a shot. It's definitely worth checking out at the end of the day. Now, one more thing before I wrap up. It's come to my attention that there apparently exists another Universe at War human mod entitled The Human Resistance. Sadly, though, I wasn't able to get this mod to work, as it's apparently designed for the retail version of Universe at War and not the Steam version. So, if anyone can tell me how to get it to work with the Steam version, I'll be more than happy to review this mod too.